This Choircast podcast is brought to you by How to Not Suck as a Christian. This book is a witty, no BS guide to unlearning the toxic parts of Christianity, like purity culture, apologetics, and the idea that God's love is limited to straight conservative Americans. It's sharp, it's irreverent, and it'll definitely make your fundamentalist aunt clutch her pearls. You can get the audiobook on Audible. Print and ebooks of How to Not Suck as a Christian are available to ship to your aunt wherever books are sold. Welcome to the Unbelief Podcast, your journey, actually our journey together beyond inherited beliefs to a spirituality that works for you. I'm your host, Jeremy. I'm a deep skeptic, also a pastor. We can fix that later, right? No? Damn. Welcome to the Unbelief Podcast. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Gabby.
And Gabby, what percentage of your friends who used to go to church when you were a teenager would you sort of estimate still go to church?
Actually, I would say there is quite a few that still go to church.
Uh-huh.
The ones who have deconstructed are no longer attending.
Right.
And the ones who haven't are still very much part of church.
Yes,
Yeah.
for sure. No. So what we want to talk about is why it is that people are leaving the church.
Yeah.
You have like your own personal experience, a lot of stories. I have sort of a meta experience just through TikTok and seeing thousands of comments. So, I'm curious, like, if you had to sort of give a couple of reasons that you've heard, like that people are just legit, like, so you have left the church and
yeah,
which means you are now in this community of people.
Yeah.
Some of whom never went to church, some of whom are different religions, and probably a number of whom didn't have left the church like you. So what do they say? Why is it they don't go to church anymore?
There's a lot of reasons why I feel like people leave. Oh man, I think there's so much. I mean, if we talk about like the manipulation that goes on in church, there are a lot of people who have been hurt by.
And what kind of manipulation have they been hurt by?
There's so much. There's like financial manipulation, which is one of the reasons actually that my family first left the church we were attending.
Right. And tell me about that. Tell me that story.
Oh, happy to share. So we were part of a very Hispanic Pentecostal church. Services were in Spanish, very much in Queens, New York. And the pastor, were just very money hungry. And it got to the point where they were taking like offerings like 3 times during church. Like we're raising an
3 times in a certain service.
In a service.
Okay.
Like, okay, we're going to start with, in the morning, usually after worship, the first thing you do is get regular offering. Then like, oh, we have a guest speaker coming in today. We want to raise an offering for him. So then you were expected to give to the guest speaker.
Like a love offering to pay him.
Yes. And then it would be like, oh, so we're trying to raise like equipment for the house of God and like just have better sound systems and everything. So we want to raise another offering. It's like at the end of the service, you're like giving 3 times,
Yeah.
And I remember I was really young, but my mom would tell me a lot like about how this would work. The offering, like they gave out envelopes and you had to put your name on there, like the amount you were giving. So like they knew who each person was and how much they were giving. Right.
And they had to do that for taxes, right? To give a statement at the end. However, the idea that, because for me, having worked in that system, there are some legal things. You've got to send people a statement so they can put it on their taxes. However, as a pastor, I always felt completely uncomfortable knowing how much different people gave, right? I didn't want to know because I never wanted to feel like I could make a decision because I know, oh, wow, this person gives like 10% of the church's budget. I don't want to make them mad. I want to do what they say. However, in talking to pastors, the most common thing is that they know.
Yeah.
Like when they're shaking your hand, they know the dollar amount, or if you don't rise above the certain threshold, they don't know at all because it doesn't matter.
I don't like that.
No,
I feel like
it's awful.
Yeah, like I feel like it should be anonymous.
Right,
because
it's unethical.
Like that is unfair treatment. Then you're gonna be kissing ass to certain people, and this is how my church low-key was operating. So we left that church. Oh, before I'm gonna go back to that story, but it got to the point where one of the pastors, because it was like a satellite campus, so there was multiple campuses, he came back to the church, the Hispanic church, and he was like, shame on you guys, you're robbing God from his money.
Robbing God how?
Yeah, because you're not giving enough. Like you guys are not. And so my mom was like, I can't do this anymore, and she left. She's like, this is ridiculous.
You can't rob God, because if you believe in the Bible, God already owns everything.
Right. No,
right? Like,
he came for the congregation and just like made them feel like awful, just like terrible.
Wow.
And so she was like, yep, I'm done. So she left.
Well, and I think so. Some people, she's experiencing it directly.
Yeah.
You were experiencing it indirectly.
I mean, I was a kid back then.
Right. And I know, I don't know if this is your experience, but I've heard so many stories now of people whose family were very poor, but the pastor comes at them like that.
Yeah.
And so they're on food stamps. They're on all the things. They have very, very, very little money. And their parents gave money to the church, which meant they couldn't afford shoes, right? They couldn't afford enough food. And so the kid is experiencing it as at a different level, right? Like, this church is causing me to not eat, or to, like, I'm getting picked on because I have holes in my shoes, and I wouldn't have holes in my shoes if my mom didn't feel like she had to give to the church. Yeah.
And then conservatives want to take away free lunch. I'm sorry. I'm just
right?
like,
oh my gosh.
I just don't understand.
We don't even get there. So your mom left that church.
Yes. She left the church.
Which is great.
Yeah.
High five, Mom.
I know.
Props. What, do you mind saying her name?
Her Elizabeth is her name. Yeah,
Way to go, Elizabeth, right?
Yeah.
And you went to another church. But this is something that you've heard other people say, right?
Yes, that they've, like, the 10%. I mean, oh my God, going everywhere. Other people have said, yes, it's manipulation to be having to give 10%. I have a friend actually from Nigeria who's an international student at Georgetown. And I kind of asked him, like, oh, I know, the continent of Africa can be religious. Yeah. I'm just curious, like, is your country like Christian? He's like, honestly, I have mixed feelings about just religion in general, because religion keeps people poor in my country.
Yeah.
Because the same thing, these people have faith that God will help them, give all their money to the church, and the church does nothing to help them in return, just take their money and they stay poor. And
it's interesting, for some cultures, not just foreign cultures, but even in America, there is a status that the members of the church associate a status of the church with how well off their pastor is. I had a friend in, I won't name the tradition, but there was a term among pastors called getting your Cadillac, where if you made it high enough in the system, you made it to a church that would buy you a car. And that was, in that culture, a symbol of, like, this church is important, is treating their pastor right, is favored by God, right? But in order to do that, there was because again, this pastor who got his Cadillac was not serving a wealthy congregation, right? It just meant that those people were giving a lot of their money for his car.
Who was this? It's like Benny Hinn vibes, or?
Oh, no. Like, it wasn't a huge church.
Oh.
It's a large church that is, it's the 90% has 90% of the church is minority in the denomination. And this is just part of the culture. So there's different cultures even that do what happens in Nigeria.
Yeah.
And the thing is like, you have a a person even of that culture, right, that's in their 20s, walks in, sees all the poor people, sees the pastor in a incredibly expensive suit, driving in a Cadillac or whatever, a nice car. His is the nicest car in the parking lot, and that does not come across well.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not saying that pastors should be poor, right? Like, that's not what I'm saying. It means, though, they are manipulating people out of money.
Yes.
And they're using the tithe, which is complete bullshit.
Right.
So in the Bible, the tithe, the concept of tithing, when you read the actual words, the 10% is assessed twice. And then there is another offering that's up to 2.5%. And so you have between 20 and 22.5% as the expectation in the Bible of people giving to the church. The problem is the church, their form of government in many times was a theocracy or a theocratic monarchy, which means the king is sitting in the place of God. And so a lot of social services and things like that were managed by the church. So it's very much more like taxes today than the offerings that are given to a church. So taking that, so first off, they don't take what the Bible says and say you need to give 22.5%, right? They take 10%, which is not what it says, and pressure people, but they don't give the context. And I don't know. As a pastor, I was forced to do that, and I hated it.
Yeah.
In fact, multiple times. So I worked in a mega church for a while. Every year you have to talk about giving over a 4-week sermon series. But on the day that was preached, I took a vacation day. Like, I couldn't.
Yeah.
And it was every year. I was off that day. I planned it. I scheduled it. I would have a trip. I'd go speak somewhere else. I couldn't. I got to the place where this is a lie. I can't do this.
Yeah. I think a lot of, I'm glad there's some pastors out there that feel that way. I think other people don't have kind of any sort of remorse.
Right.
And I think speaking in my church that I was attending for a while, our budget was $1 million, Jeremy. And I remember the pastors being like, well, we have to respect the people who are big givers and the other ones, I guess, whatever. And it's just they will basically kiss ass to the people who are. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And they're like, oh, we have to make sure to make them happy.
Every church I've been in. And now I'm just going to be honest. I have not been in churches that are small.
Yeah.
I was for 1 year involved in a church that had about 300 members. Everything has been larger than that.
Yeah.
I now am full-time online, so I have, depending on how you look at it, I have either 20, 300, or about 2 million churches. I don't know. But every one of those churches, the pastor's best friends were the richest people. And it made me so angry. They'd be like, what are you doing for your vacation? Oh, I'm going with these 2 people to their house in the Bahamas, right? I'm going with these 2 people, or these 3 people on a hunting trip in Alaska to hunt elk or something crazy. And they weren't paying for it. And it was just, oh my gosh, there was nothing ethically okay about the fact that all of their friends happened to be the richest people, and they knew, because they knew how much these people gave.
Yeah, it's awful. It's so terrible.
Okay, so we've talked about money. What?
Can I mention one more thing about money?
Yeah, go ahead.
My sister's watching the live, and she actually just texted me.
What's her name?
Her name's Vanessa.
Hey, Vanessa!
And she was like, oh, there was a song that we used to sing as kids in that church when we were 4 years old, and the song goes offering, offering, offering. If you give to the Lord $1, he'll give you 2. And this was a rhyme we would sing as kids.
Oh my gosh. Which is a complete lie.
Isn't that
Listen. If that was real, if that was real, I would be so wealthy.
I know.
Every dollar I got, I'd give it. I'd get the double out, and I'd take my half. Yeah. I'd give it again.
It's just crazy as kids. Like, we were singing these songs, and like I blocked out a lot of stuff. She's like, no, I remember we used to do this.
Oh my gosh. That's awful. Yeah. Because it's like indoctrinating, it's brainwashing children. It's like raising up this like brainwashed group of children so that they can give you more money. It's so messed up. So, okay, we talked about money.
Yeah.
One of the things that I have heard so much is that people have left the church because not just of money, but because the church is like full of old white Republicans. And I'm not trying to get political, right? But like old white Republicans. It's like a monoculture. Yeah. And the thing is, like, the life that I live is full of people of all colors, of all political ideologies, of all gender expressions, of all sexualities, of all... It's just a completely diverse group. And that is the modern world. And you walk into a church and you look up on the, stage, and you see none of that.
Yes.
And that's like a hard, like you walk in, you're like, oh, these people don't, and of course they're holding the power. Yeah, anyway.
No, I will say that is one thing that I actually really loved about the church that I was a part of, because the vision, before everything, there was like a whole scandal that happened, was a multi-ethnic, multicultural church. And I love that, because that was supposed to be the vision of heaven, right? Seeing people of, like you said, different colors, different age groups, multi-generational. And it's something that I think is really important that's not practiced in a lot of churches. But to see someone that looks like you up on the stage at worship or up giving messages, like what happens when we have only white men interpret the Bible? Right. A person who's a minority or a person who has a different gender expression is going to read something differently and have a different message.
Yes.
So it is, I think, really hard for people to not see their identity represented in life, but especially in a church, something that's supposed to be home and like family, you know?
And they don't want, the other thing is, because it's like white Republican men, right? You go into a church and women can't be a pastor in a lot of these churches, right? Which when you find that out, you don't want to be there, and you don't want your daughter to be there.
Yeah. What message is that giving?
Right.
No.
Right. It's not okay. And so here's a question.
Yeah.
What about the church that has the sign outside that says all are welcome?
Are all actually welcome? Can me and my gay partner get married here? Yeah. See, this is the problem.
Right.
Because this actually pisses me off. A lot of churches will be like, all are welcome.
All are welcome.
Of course.
They got the sign.
Right. They have the sign, and they'll welcome you in. They'll be like, hello, how are you? Of course, from appearance, they won't judge you.
Right. They will yes, you can. Everybody can walk through the door.
Yeah. Yeah, you can enter, But
when you see all are welcome, you think, everybody can participate at all the levels.
No. But the gay people can't actually go up there and be a leader. They can't be in the worship. A person who's living with their partner before marriage can't be on worship team. No. So actually...
Divorced.
Right. Divorced can't be up there either. So really, what did you mean by all are welcome?
Right. And, so the other thing, and this is a real problem, because I know multiple people who were like, you know what? Let's try it again. We know now. We watch Jeremy's TikTok. We know that there are churches that exist that are inclusive. Queer people are okay. Divorced people are okay. Women can be in leadership. All the things. And so they find a church online. non-denominational church that says all are welcome, and they're like, oh, finally, there's one in our community. So they go for a couple of weeks. They join a small group, and then one Sunday, the pastor starts talking about how queer people are going to hell, and they're like, wait a second, you said all are welcome. What the hell? Yeah. And when you look at their website, they're hiding it.
Of course.
Right? You look at their website, nothing about it. Nothing about queer people, nothing about women in ministry, nothing about divorce, like none of it. And it is just so sketchy AF.
Yes, it is. And then people wonder like, oh, well, I wonder why the young adults are leaving. Like, maybe if you actually created an inclusive environment, then they wouldn't leave.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, but what happens is they go there and they're like, oh, shit. Okay, let's look for another one. All are welcome. Look at the website. Really pay attention to the website. Great. All are welcome. Go. It happens again. And that's it. They're done. Right? Because what it is, so in my conversations with them, what they say is like, all these churches are lying. They're trying to trick people into thinking they are affirming because they know people want that when they aren't. And now I had once lost trust for the church. I risked it again. And now I've lost trust for a church in a different way because they know the culture has moved on and they are trying to pay lip service to something they don't believe in order to get people in the door. And what they say is in order to get those people's money. Right.
It's just, you don't actually care about your congregate members.
Yeah.
I don't have patience for that. Like you can't then ask the question, why are they leaving? Like, you don't know. Come on now. Like,
right.
It's awful. It's truly awful. It's unfair. People are already having a hard time in society just with the second that you have a minority identity, it's already hard for you. Yeah. So to then go somewhere we're supposed to be home and you feel connected to a higher power to be like, actually, you're still not included in this space.
Yeah.
What? No, it's just like, no.
Yeah.
No, that's just really harmful. And I think it's a lot of like emotional manipulation, right? I mean, with your identity, like you being like, you're welcome, but actually your identity is sinful and you can't live it out. You have to, if you're going to choose this lifestyle, you need to be celibate. Huh? Yeah. Like, who said?
Right. No. Also calling it a lifestyle.
Oh, I said that because that's the term used.
That's another really interesting thing to me is that when I'm part of the queer community, when I talk to my friends who are not straight, and we talk about God or church or religion or whatever, they all have stories. So one of them tells me that they were out. They came out. Their family was supportive. Their family was religious. They went to youth group. And when they left youth group, the youth pastor had been told that they were gay. When they left youth group, the pastor followed them out and told them that being gay was a sin. And if they weren't willing to try to avoid that temptation, that they shouldn't come to the youth group. This was not a place for them to try and recruit other people to being gay.
Are we for real?
Yes. And that was his youth group. Like, it wasn't the first time. And he attempted to unalive himself as a result. And the thing is like, it's not one story.
No, it's not.
I've heard versions of that story 1,000 times. And when that happens, right, there's all kinds of emotional, psychological fallout. And they never go back. then there's people who have a religious family member, mom, dad, grandma, and they get to a place where they come out to them. And when they come out to them, they are rejected, right? They're rejected on religious grounds. They're told that they are sinful. I've had multiple people who, so I'll give you a very specific story, but there's many versions of this. They come out to their parent and they're a teenager. Their parent says to them, "This is a sin. I'm worried about you. You're going to hell, and you have been brainwashed by the liberal whatever. This isn't who you are. This is a temptation, and I want to help you. I want to help you realize that and live a straight life. And so you're going to see a counselor, talk to this pastor, and talk to this family friend. And if you don't do that, you're no longer welcome to live here." Right? And they attempted to unalive themselves. When people come out, 15% chance that that's going to happen. If they're rejected by religious friends and family, 30% chance, right? And so they leave the church. And not only them, right? Because they are in a little group, hopefully a little group that's supportive of them. And so you are straight and your friend tells you that, and you just stop going. You're like, no, I'm not going to be a part of a religion like that.
Absolutely not. First of all, I really grieve over people who have unalived themselves because of exclusion for being like part of the LGBT community, especially now that we have research on the fact that this word was added to the Bible. It's not even, so people like, if you really think about the severity of what this one word has done to people, it is truly awful. And the fact that this continues to happen, maybe as a parent, we decide not to do something that would hurt our child so much to want to make that decision.
Yeah.
I don't know. And other people, and not just parents, but like communities who constantly exclude. It's really, to me, you said that and I just got chills over my body. It's just very sad. It's very manipulative, and it's absolutely awful. I think there's so much manipulation, and to be like, why are you leaving? Well, maybe because I'm not welcome. I don't actually have a home here because you told me I don't, you know? Right.
And it's weird to me that the religious establishment, right, the denominations are talking about like trying to figure out how to get people back. Right. And they're wringing their hands. I don't know, like we're blah, blah, blah. Our culture is shifting or whatever. And I want to say to them, like, it is really obvious. Like, just ask the people and stop doing the things.
Yeah, literally.
What's another thing for you if you're trying to list, what are the things that have made people to leave the church?
I think thinking of two right now. I think one, people who are religious are still living in times of biblical times that are no longer relevant to today. Mm-hmm. And one of those, which I have heard in person say to my face, that women are supposed to be homemakers or supposed to be in the house, supposed to be like trad wives or whatever. And like someone, because I had gotten accepted to go get my PhD at Georgetown. Uh-huh. And I had someone be like, well, actually women shouldn't be educated according to like the Bible, and like you shouldn't go do that because you should be someone who's at home.
Women shouldn't be educated. That
straight up to my face. Should not
be educated.
Should not be educated because they should be at home. I swear. should be at home serving their husband and like being a good mother. A lot of women are getting careers not focusing on being a good mom.
Oh
like,
my God,
I know. I swear. I was like, are you seriously saying that to me? So, and I value education obviously a lot. I mean, I have
you're going to get a PhD.
Yes, literally, yes. So I'm like, I'm sorry, but no, that is some nonsense. Like, you just want to, so we're going to just use the Bible to keep suppressing women and other people. I don't think so.
And again, people sit there in a church, they hear it,
and they
and sometimes it is a way that abusive spouses justify the way they're acting, and sort of the Stockholm syndrome side. The abused spouse feels like, I should not make them mad at me. And then they get out and they're like, what the hell? Like, you indirectly caused my abuse and directly caused a thinking process in me that made me stay.
That's another reason I feel like why people leave. The minimizing of actual issues like abuse, and people go to pastors for counsel when they don't have a professional degree to give therapy.
Oh gosh.
Or
yes.
Like, there have been, and I know personal people who have gone about some sort of abuse and pastors being like, well, you don't need therapy, just pray about it. Actually,
oh my God,
you're fine. Or minimizing mental health. Oh, it's just a demon. We need to lay hands on you and pray it away. I'm like, we're not this is not, no.
Yeah, the anti-scientific bias, both psychologically and like cosmologically, that's some bullshit.
Yeah.
And our culture has moved on.
Yeah.
Like, we believe in science.
Yeah.
Like, it is such a fringe thing to believe that depression is caused by a demon. Oh my gosh, that's ridiculous. Absolutely. I mean, like, to say it out loud, I feel like I'm in some sort of weird movie.
Yeah.
Right?
So people have this belief, like,
and they say it.
Yes, and they mean it. They're like, if we just lay hands, we can pray this demon out of you. And of course,
an average person is going to look at that and say, like, hell no.
Yeah.
I don't need that in my life. Like, I need SSRIs.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
Yes. This is the thing. This is building off of what you were saying earlier. So people can go online on my profile, click a link, and book time with me to have a one-on-one. I've got one in just a minute. I had a couple yesterday. To process what's going on in their life. I help people find spiritual beliefs and practices that work for them, help them be the best version of themselves, help them find a purpose greater than themselves, help them experience transcendence, right? That's my thing. But I'm a pastor. I am not a therapist. And in fact, multiple times in the process where you sign up, it says, Jeremy is not a therapist. He can help you find one, but he is not a therapist. Hey, you're gonna, because my job, I try not to take donations. I just ask people to pay for what they get. And so there's always a free option, but when they're paying the checkout, Jeremy is not. So the email that they get, Jeremy is not. And like, when I say, hey, just so you know, I'm not a therapist.
Right.
Because so many pastors act as if they have therapeutic training when they don't. I've been to seminary. I've been to a seminary that my degree is a Master of Divinity. It is a double master's degree. Most masters are 45 hours. This is 90 hours. It's an academic master's and an applied master's. And yes, I did have a course in pastoral care and counseling, but my course that is to say, like, how do you help people through grief? How do you be present in a hospital room, right? It's not, how do you have marital counseling with people? How do you treat people for depression, right? It's the pastoral role informed by therapeutic practice.
Right.
And so it's really great. There's some wonderful therapeutic practices that can help people explore their spirituality. Like, there's one called the Miracle Question that I'm not going to get into, but like,
and
so somebody goes to a pastor.
Yeah.
And the pastor tells them horrible advice. Their life gets way worse. Or, oh God, a pastor giving financial advice.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have attended sermons where here's how you deal with your finances. Excuse me. Do you have a degree on how to?
Right. Are you a CPA?
Yeah. No.
And you're not, sit down.
Yeah.
Right. The Bible does not know about the stock market.
I know. Come on. I mean, this Bible was not written for the times of today. Like I don't. And then I have so many friends, Jeremy, that have went to premarital counseling with their pastor who does not have any sort of degree on how to help a couple navigate the things they need to navigate, you know? It's just like, why? Like, you are not helping, like, you really think you're helping someone without the professional training? That's like me giving advice on a complete topic that's not linguistics to someone. Like, I'm just like, I can't help you. Yeah. That's not what I specialize in.
Right.
You know?
It's not okay.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have another one?
I mean, I have so many.
Well, let's go for it.
I'm thinking one of the other reasons probably why people leave is they struggle with the topic of inerrancy of the Bible.
Oh gosh, right.
To uplift a book that was written so many years ago.
Just explain for people, what is it? What do people mean when they say inerrancy of the Bible?
Inerrancy is that there are no errors in the Bible. That it is the Word of God, perfect in its form.
Like as if God had a hand and actually wrote it
himself. Mm-hmm. God inspired, as they say. And that there's no mistakes.
No mistakes.
And so this is very much, I don't know about, Catholics, but I know within Protestant, religion, sola scriptura was like a huge tenet that they had for sure. And they still have it today, right? It's just the Bible. So I think people struggle with there being you can't question the book. It's like, but what happens when somebody has a question? Hey, there's contradiction with who saw when Jesus resurrected, the accounts of who he went to. An angel came, and then it was actually the woman who came. Like, there's
Jesus is of Nazareth or of Bethlehem. He was born in Nazareth or Bethlehem. Like he can't be both.
Right. That's why I always it was always a trivia question. Jesus is what? I'm like, is it Bethlehem or Nazareth? Because I've heard both.
Yes.
I never could
because the Bible says both.
Yes, or the way.
And you have to do all these mental gymnastics to get them to be in harmony, but they don't need to be in harmony because what they were saying there and what they were doing, the writers were doing there, had nothing to do with the specific city in which Jesus was born.
Right. And there's a presupposition that it's univocal, right? Because if you say that it's one voice, then that's how they try to fill in the holes. But there are holes, right? And I think
and there are and the problem is that this ethos of like the univocality and the inerrancy are baked into some Bible translations.
Absolutely.
So like the New International Version has univocality as one of its presuppositions. And so they actually change some of the tenses so that it seems more univocal than it is.
I mean, there's also been so much manipulation with the way we've translated stuff. I mean, I've listened to like Dan McClellan's stuff a lot. And just an example, and me being a linguist, right, I look a lot about how like morphology and like words are put together and like articles that we use. Apparently in the original manuscript that was written, we have in all translations in the beginning, but it was actually in a beginning, an indefinite article. That completely changes the meaning. That
changes everything.
When we use a definite article, we're saying that the thing is defined and we know what we're talking about. Indefinite can refer to something that's general, undefined, unspecific.
Or also it can be as it was beginning. Like there's all these different nuances in the beginning. I mean, the Bible has errors in it.
It does. But
it 100% does. And not just errors, there are clearly errors in the text that have nothing to do with translation.
100%.
Right? There are just like battle counts that are different.
Yeah.
Like Jesus was born in Nazareth and in Bethlehem. Like there are things that are just errors, but there are also so many errors that have been incorporated into the text throughout its copying and translation to the point that you can find verses that you go from like Matthew chapter 17 and you're in verse 16, verse 17, verse 19.
Yeah.
And you're like, where's verse 18? Well, scholars are so confident that wasn't originally in it that they just took it out. You won't find it in any modern translation because it wasn't there. I don't know how you can treat the Bible as inerrant.
Yeah.
When it is just clearly has errors. Now, at the same time, that doesn't mean you don't believe the Bible.
Right.
Because the Bible is useful. The Bible is not like some sort of detailed like programming language manual.
But that's how they treat it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the problem is. If the churches took a different approach and said, you know what, congregation, yes, the Bible is inerrant. Let's learn the historical context we're duped of that.
Yeah.
We're duped of the historical context. We're not provided with any of that when we're learning from a pastor, right?
Yeah.
If we took that approach and maybe we didn't treat it as a manual to how to live our life and we were more flexible, maybe you would actually have people who would stay and want to learn about, we use the Bible as something that could influence our life, but not necessarily dictate every single move, right? The Bible for so long was like, okay, people can't have sex before marriage. They can't have a partner that's not Christian. Because the Bible says, right?
Right.
Which the Bible says, even I put it in quotes because we apply meaning to text, right? I mean, but anyways, so I think the inerrancy is a big factor as to why people don't stay.
Yeah.
And if it was recognized, maybe we would do a different approach.
And part of that is that pastors are operating in this paradigm that does not exist anymore, as if they are the keepers of all of the information, as if they are going to be treated as the authority, and as if when people come into the room, they are being given information for the first time.
Yeah.
That's not the world we live in. If somebody wants to study deeply, there are 1,000 ways they can do it. They can find a credible source, a person with like multiple PhDs in the Bible who is thought of by all of the other PhDs as one of the leading people, like Dan McClellan. Yeah. And all of a sudden, what happens is you start thinking critically about the Bible, and you show up and you hear this bullshit and you say, you've been lying to me for my whole life. Yeah. I'm done.
Yes.
I'm done. And I think the other thing that pastors and church leaders don't understand is that these people leave their church, but they're not leaving spirituality. I think what they imagine is these people who get pissed off at the inerrancy, whatever it is, they leave the church and they become atheists. But that's not the pathway. Some of them do.
Yeah.
But my experience is that a huge percentage of them are actually still very much interested in spirituality, continue to have spiritual practices, and they just long for a spiritual community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I completely agree with that. But I think from a church, like the church point of view, or the evangelical point of view, those people are new age, therefore they've entered the demonic realm. Like they're like, Satan has a hold of them now, so whatever. So if you say I'm I remember spiritual had such a stigmatized name in our community. Like, oh, they're spiritual. They're not actually they're not Christian. They're in the new age stuff.
Well, speaking of a demonic community of people who love God and are interested in spirituality, we have one of those.
Yes, we do.
You are part of it.
Yeah.
It's called Not Church. Tell me, what is your experience of Not Church?
I love Not Church. Not Church exists online. I mean, we're on a Discord, and one thing that I love about it is that we have multiple channels to talk about different things. Mm-hmm. And I really resonate with the Need to Vent channel. And we have a channel on politics, and we have a channel on spiritual practices and books and resources, and so many things. That's just been great to connect with other people who are like-minded, who think similarly, who can give advice on where they're at in life. Right. I have learned a lot from people and really have connected with people online.
It's funny. You say like-minded. That's 100% true, and yet 100% false.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Because, it's both.
Yeah, because there's people with, I mean, what kind of religious identities have you experienced there?
Yeah, I have. Oh my gosh. I mean, there are people who are like mysticism or mystical, which I've never encountered someone who's in that realm, I guess, or like people who use tarot cards, which is new to me. So that's very different from like my sort of spiritual practices that I'm like, oh wow, please speak on it a little bit more. I think there was like some person who's read like Satanist doctrine.
There's a Satanist.
Yeah, and I'm like,
there's a Buddhist.
Yeah,
there's atheists.
There's spiritually fluid people in there. There's agnostic people in there. I mean, there's so like-minded in the sense of like people tend to be more progressive, which I like, but also in different parts of life with where they're at with their walk, which has been cool.
And I think like-minded in the sense that like they are here to learn and support each other. Yeah. Not argue and be right. Yeah. And that I listen, I've always wanted a church like that. And also there's a channel of holding space. So like people will post like, I'm having a heart issues. I'm going to the doctors, and people will pray for them or do whatever it is that they do. Yeah. In some version of prayer for them. It's really great. The other thing that I really love about it is that we don't ask people to donate. Yeah, we don't ask people to donate, which means though that we do charge for it. It's a pay for what you get instead of a donation model. It's $3 a month. Mm-hmm. And if it doesn't work for you, like you just stop paying. Yeah. And if you also, if $3 is too much, people can DM me and I will find a way to let them in for free. But yeah, I love it. Because I think a lot of these people who have left the church, they miss community. Yeah. They miss talking to people about spirituality because, I mean, you know, like you bring up spiritual stuff, a lot of people just don't want to talk about it. Like, they mark you as some sort of weirdo, right? Oh, you're one of these people. Do you also believe in aliens abducting people? You know what I'm saying? Right. And I really love it.
That's so true. I was going to say, you know, one thing that my therapist always says is like, there is like a freedom in deconstructing, but then a grief also, right? Yeah. Because you do miss the community aspect. She's like, it sounds like it's just like a lonely journey to be deconstructing on your own, right. Which is why I love Not Church so much, because I can do it with other people, you know?
Okay, so just as we're ending the podcast, if hopefully somebody's going to share this with pastors, right? If you could say one thing to a pastor about like they see everybody leaving, they don't want them to leave, what do you say?
My literal advice would be talk to them, ask them why they're leaving, and just have a conversation with that member, because they're probably hurting as well. And I think it's important to ask why and just be empathetic and put yourself in their shoes. That's all. Just be a listening ear. Listen to what they have to say.
You are way more pastoral and kind than I am. I want to say to pastors, stop sucking as Christians. Yeah. Like all of the things that run people out of the church, my experience are, they are either completely up for debate or opposite of the teachings of Jesus. So just stop all of that. Yeah. You don't have to do any of that. You get to choose what you're going to preach on. You get to choose what things how you're going to be active in the world. Yeah. Or if you are doing absolutely nothing to benefit the world and you should close down. And if you close down, nobody would know except for the 20 people that were there. Like, great, maybe close down. Yeah. Or do something positive. Right. Yeah. So I think you're really nice.
Oh, thanks. I think both messages are important.
No, right? Yeah. Okay, so if you're listening to this podcast, if you could give us all the ratings, all the stars, that always really helps. That's it. That's the podcast. Shout out to the Choir Network, to Patheos, to Matthew and Keith, who make everything happen. Now, get out of here. Go do something to make the world a better place. Okay? We'll see you next time.